This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we'll call back to order the May 11th Budget Committee meeting. Are there any additions or removal of agenda items? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I make a motion to accept the May 11th agenda as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second
that. Norman?
Okay, Donald Norman second. Can you call roll, Stephanie? Tony Anderson?
Aye.
Sam Potter?
Aye.
Bruce McNair?
Aye.
Rick Hobart?
Aye.
Ciara Allen?
Aye.
Donald Norman?
Aye.
Dale Webb?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, so everyone, I believe, received the minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes? That's Stephanie. Yes, Noni.
I have one small thing regarding the timber cut in the Boulmeyer Park. There's no mention that I said I thought some of the money should go to the park.
On my end,
That is correct. Hold on. Did you say something, Sam? Sam Potter, did you have something to say?
my without me.
Sam, if something's going on, you're in and out.
I take it. Oh, I didn't read it quite the way you intended it, Stephanie. It's okay.
Okay. Are there any other corrections? Hearing none, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll move that the minutes be approved, the minutes of the May 4th, 2021 budget meeting be approved as written.
Is there a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, Rick Hobart seconds. Stephanie, can you please call the roll? Donald Norman,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Ciara Allen,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Sam Potter, Sam, can you hear us? Okay, Noni Anderson,
Aye.
motion carried. Sam will be reflected as absent since he can't talk, it appears. Can you hear us, Sam? Okay, motion carried.
That's hard to see.
There's no response, so I thought maybe I could send him a note. Okay, moving on. So I don't believe there's any public comment unless, and Scott Laird, if you have public comment, you can raise your hand or let me know you want to speak during a specific fund. So did everyone receive the questions and answers that Angie had received and sent back out to everyone? Okay, so I think probably we'll just keep those on the sideline unless they come up in each specific fund, if that works with everyone. So we'll start with the water fund on page 31. So we'll start with water fund income on page 32. In this income section, are there any questions on line items, clarifications? Doesn't look like anyone has any income questions. Payroll expense, are there any questions or clarifications on payroll expense in the water fund? Dale?
Yeah, and Angie addressed it in her response. I think it was line item 1512-00. There was a little discrepancy there. She will correct. Actuals more than the forecast. So there's a bookkeeping error.
Yeah, the actual is not part of the adopted budget, so it doesn't matter. The actual
Yeah.
and the forecast, they don't go in the adopted form.
JR?
Yeah, I was wondering what the raises in salaries, what percentage or why it's in there, because Angie did respond back to my question, said there was a $45,000 raise in salaries for the 6. Is that?
I responded to your question.
Yeah, you said you did.
Everybody gets 5%. That's what's built into the budget every year. Whether or not they receive that depends on their evaluation. The fund allocation changes year to year, so.
Yeah, I hadn't done the math on it. I just wondered if that was 5% or what. But.
No, because there's every year different allocations to water and sewer within those staff members. So it's never going to be just, each fund isn't going to see a solid 5% increase. Water could have gone up 2% and sewer 8%. It just depends on the allocation of hours. Like for this year, well, next year, I'm anticipating that there's going to be a lot more of Jeff's time spent in sewer if we get this springboard project going. So therefore, I allocated more of his hours to the sewer fund than the water fund this year. Typically, water gets the bulk of the salary. So to try to figure it out as a straight percentage is never going to work, because their salaries are all broken up. I sent you guys out that spreadsheet with the by department and then the percentage of each that had been allocated to those different departments.
Dale?
So when you're talking 5%, you're talking some of that's merit pay?
Yeah.
It's all merit.
So merit isn't, it's a one-time, like a lump sum, annual lump sum, or is that adds on every year?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
our merit increase for doing a good job.
Their wage
Not
could
doing
go
a good
up.
job, we don't get it.
The wage could go up by 5% in the hours, like an hourly rate, you would get more money. And so what she's saying is that when she has someone that's heavy in sewer, sewer is going to take the 5%, maybe if they're working more in sewer, that's going to be resolute in the figures here. Because more of that salary is going to sewer than water for potentially for springboard, right? So it's never going to be like Jimmy makes $10 and his raise is $1, so it's not going to be $11 out of each fund. It's going to be how much they're working in the fund times the hourly rate.
Yeah, I understand the springboard aspect of it. That's a good reply. There's going to be additional work. So I guess I was confused on, don't we have something in that we put aside each year for employees, but it's like a lump sum payment?
That's COLA.
That,
That's the
yeah.
cost of living increase. It's 2.5, and we pay it in a lump sum. We don't add the merit plus a 2.5 because then potentially every year they're going up 7.5%. If you did it, if you put that on their wage.
Okay. Well, I guess I had that totally mixed up because I thought they got an annual raise, and then I thought there was merit pay that.
They get an annual COLA stipend that is 2.5% of the hours worked, but they're not guaranteed the merit increase unless it actually is merited. Just like council gets to choose whether or not I get 0, 1, 2, 3, or the whole 5. The supervisors choose that for their employees.
Okay, so it's not an automatic 5% raise. It's department head and then you making that
For their
discretionary.
evaluation, they'll get it based on how their annual evaluation comes out.
So is there steps too as they get there's certification pay, but as they get more certifications, don't they have steps that they're going up?
There's no steps. They just get a stipend for certain certifications that they hold. So it's like 25
Okay.
bucks or 50 bucks. It's not added to their salary, and there is no step scale for anybody from the police.
Okay.
Other questions?
Chairman, just for clarification, just so there's no mistake here, you're saying that if on a merit pay that, I'll give an example. A person is earning $50,000 a year, you give it 5% merit, 250 or what, 5. So at the beginning of the next year, they start at 52,500. I thought they were still at 50.
No, the merit has always been since we voted to change it, the merit is the only thing that increases their annual salary.
Well, I was part of voting for that, and that's not the way that I understood it. COLA, it's cost of living adjustment that actually raises your wages, whatever the percentage is. And any other entity, that's the way it's done.
Well, in this entity, the way it's been done for the last 6 years is that COLA is a stipend that our employees get in November based on their hours worked for the last calendar year. 2.5% of the hours they worked, that money. And then if they get a good evaluation, they can get up to 5% added on their salary.
Well, one of the reasons that we did the merit over the COLA was, if I'm correct, I remember this, is we were trying to keep those salaries from raising every year. And so we were giving a merit pay, not an increase. It was like a bonus. But you can't call it a bonus because of whatever rules that government won't allow you to. Are you telling me now that that's not the case?
That has not been the case. The COLA is what was happening. So it didn't matter if someone was doing a good job, they were getting both.
I can see the difference there from what you're trying to say, but that's not the entire conversation. The conversation was we were trying to contain the cost of salaries, and that was to, especially with some of the upper salaries, not to have them continue to gain each year. So how would would doing away with a COLA serve that purpose? And then having a merit increase, a merit pay? It seems to be counterproductive.
No, because if someone's not doing a good job, the only extra monies aside from their salary that they're gonna get is 2.5% of their hours worked. That, say it's $700 for the year or something. And that's it. What the concern was back then was that people were getting 2.5% and potentially a merit increase, and it was almost 10% every year. Everyone was going up, whether they did a good job or not. So the staff voted to take the COLA as a stipend and the merit really be based on merit. So some people get 2% if they're kind of just doing the bare minimum, and people that are, you know, busting it out and doing a great job and improving, they get the full 5%. That's what it's worked in the last 6 years of budget.
I disagree with that assessment. So anyway.
Well, I don't. Deal.
So the 5%, is that something that's been kind of set in stone all along?
No, a few years back when we didn't have it, it was 4%.
It was how much?
4. It's been
4.
lower and it's never been higher. 5% is, I think, the most we've had set in there.
Okay.
Are there any other questions on payroll expense or clarification? JR.
Yeah, Angie, you responded that said the increase was $45,038 this year on a total payroll of 512. That's not 5%. Is that accounting for other payroll expenses in that 5% also?
It's not 5% of the fund, it's 5% per employee. It's never gonna be 5% of the fund. Because the fund is, the hours are allocated differently between all the public works staff every year. That is not 5%. The increases are just built into the salary spreadsheet. It increases their total annual by 5%. That then gets allocated out into the different funds that they work depending on the hours in the current year and then expected projects coming up next year. So it's never gonna, that's not how the salaries in those public works funds work. It's a portion of each employee's total salary goes into the sewer fund and then a portion into the water, streets, etc. Plus some of the admin staff.
So, I mean, to get to that figure though, did you take the total fully loaded price and then add 5%?
No. Just their salary, their annual salary or hourly wage.
Okay, because total salaries for the 6 employees, like you said, was 512,000. 10% of that would be 51.2, and you've got 45K, and telling me it's 5%. That's about 9% or 8%.
Just in the water fund? I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking all combined for public works.
The only outlier is we have one employee, not a public works staff, that has been sorely underpaid. And so the increase for that particular person was a little bit more. I'm trying to find the questions that I sent you.
So remember, council, that we had talked about at my evaluation about looking at the few staff that I knew in here weren't up to their counterparts. So that is what she's discussing. There's one person that's potentially a little bit more than 5% because they've been sorely underpaid, drastically different than their counterparts in other communities. And so we did put that in there to potentially bring that person up closer to their counterpart. And that person works in water and sewer, but is not a public works employee. Trying to spell out who it is, but I don't want to spell out who it is. It's not me.
Can you state that again?
Yeah, so my evaluation, we had talked about.
No, just the last part about they don't work in public works, or they're part of the public works staff, but they don't work in water and sewer.
No, I said they work with water and sewer invoices, and they are not a public works worker.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah. Dale.
It seemed like we had a conversation. Were we correcting that salary all in 1 year, or is that going to be a multi-year correction?
Well, we had talked about, there is one currently this will be the second year of the correction. This person, the person we were talking about, we believe the funds could support just tweaking it in 1 year.
Okay.
But there is someone that's getting a little bit of a bump, not in this fund, but to do it over 2 years, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remembered that conversation. One of them is going to be scattered. So.
Yeah. Are there other questions on payroll expense for water? Sam.
Is there a maximum range to these various public works employees? Is if you do 5% over 10 years, you're 50% higher than when you started. Is there a point where COLA is the only expectation of an increase for the year? Or could this go to the moon? This 5%?
Well, I guess currently it could go to the moon. We are not part of a union, which is where it had steps. Other than one person in public works, they're all well below. They could do with a few more years of, increases before it's a worrisome thing, but currently there isn't a step for public works.
Okay.
It's not union.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so we'll move to page 35, which is the other expenses in the water fund. Any questions or need for clarification on this section? JR.
Yeah, it's on payroll expense line 151000 PERS.
Hold on.
It doesn't give me the percentage.
We're going back, sorry. Say that again, JR. Sorry, we were moving on to other expenses, but what line?
151000 PERS over on page 33. It gives a breakdown of, it says percentage of wage, 2 different tiers, but it doesn't say how much those tiers are.
One is 12.9, the other is 21.7.
12.9 and 21.7, but then on parks it said it was 18%.
Well, there's the 6% you got to throw in there on top of it. So actually it's, one is 18.9 and the other one is 27.7. So the city pays the 6% employee portion also. So that's where the 18% comes from.
So it's, wow. So tier 1's almost 30 cents on the dollar for PERS.
Yeah, I think we only have one person on tier 1, right?
Yeah, we only have one person that's on the rest of us are getting garbage.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. I didn't realize we paid 6
Yeah,
cents.
I didn't realize I'd missed putting that in there.
Okay, any other questions on payroll? Gail?
Well, I'm moving on to page 34.
Oh, okay, so we'll move on to other expenses. Page 34, Dale, go ahead.
Yeah, line item 1610-31 water. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what the answer is. You move some of the monies, right? Okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm just
forgot.
trying to consolidate some, we just seem to have a lot of redundant line items, things that you could charge here or there. So Jeff and I decided we were gonna just kind of lump all the distribution stuff together and all the treatment stuff together and see if we could streamline it a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for other expense?
What do I have? I have a question.
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question in terms of administration fee.
Yes.
Could you break down, Angela, the how that money is spent and the amount of bodies that we're paying out of that?
That goes to cover all of the expenses that, for myself, Stephanie, Ben, we spend a lot of time, you know, Ben does a lot of stuff with the billing and the water meters and the GIS, and Stephanie and I do a lot of admin stuff here. Obviously, I do the payroll, all the billing. They're just, you know, we just, every day there's something that we're either helping or coordinating or dealing with Public Works.
JR.
Is that line item part of the 55,000 Joe said that you're charging your time to for Public Works?
No.
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 It's a separate line item.
It comes out of the 2.3.
We've always charged the city administrator's salary directly to those funds because that person has acted as the Public Works Director. I mean, if you guys, you know, if council wants to change that, I feel like that's more of a council thing than a budget committee thing.
Right. Well, my concern is it seems like the water and sewer is kind of like the go-to cash cow, and we're talking about in your response here that we're going to have to raise rates when we have record income coming in from water and sewer. So we're talking another $2.
Sewer rates are going to go down.
Did I read that wrong on your response about water?
No, water is going to go up. Sewer, you didn't ask me about sewer. Sewer's the way that I have it figured out right now, the rate could go down. Let's see, almost $4 on sewer.
Okay, so in a total, it's going to be a wash or a reduction. Is that what you're saying?
And we did see a lot of expense in water this year. We have a lot of houses going in, which creates a lot of new connections, time spent on the guy's part. We did the math to make sure we were getting enough on the connection fees, and we are. So yeah, we didn't have the huge carryover that we normally see, and then that affected what I had to do as far as, you know, the budget. I didn't want to short ourselves and have to come back for supplemental again next year for distribution expenses for all the new houses that are slated to go in next year. So yeah, we're gonna, with the big transfers out that we've been able to do, we're just running that cash carry forward down lower and lower. So that's what's affecting it kind of this year. I'm hoping that the end of the year will come out a little bit more ahead than what I've got forecasted, but I don't think it's going to pan out that way. But sewer is, once again, has boatloads of money sitting there. Either we can transfer it out, or, you know, I don't think it's right to roll it all forward and then reduce your rate by $10, because That's not gonna do anybody any good next year.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Noni?
I may have misunderstood something, but I thought Angie said the water rate is going up next year because we're going to have 15 new houses or so. So if that is the case, that doesn't make sense.
No, it's a combination of this year we had, our expenses were a lot higher than we originally budgeted for. So all the expenses in water were a lot more, which reduced our carry forward that we're gonna have at the beginning of next year, which then means there's more, we have to create more or generate more revenue to cover the budget. I also had to budget heavy next year for those same expenses because we know that the building is still continuing. We have a builder that's got however many lots up on the hill there where the rain tree used to be. So I mean, there's a lot more coming up, and I just feel like it's better for us to anticipate that and be ready for it rather than have a shortfall when we get there.
Now, my reason for asking was because I thought SDCs are supposed to cover those increases when we have
Not
something.
connection fees, not new connections.
Yeah, because they're not counted as increasing the capacity, so you can't use that SDC money for that. If we put in a new water pipeline, but they're putting in water lines and connecting to existing lines.
So they are putting in the lot water.
They're putting a pipe off of our pipe, but it doesn't count as increasing capacity for us.
I guess I don't understand the real reason for the increase then, except that Angie said we have ran high this year. Expenses ran high.
Yeah, our expenses were higher this year than we anticipated due to the building boom. And the same going forward, I'm anticipating it's going to be the same for next year. So whereas last year, or this current year, our carry forward, we started the year with $170,000. The forecast is coming in at $96,000.
Mm-hmm. I
So
know.
right there, we have to generate that somehow to cover the expenses.
Tammy, I think that's you. Do you have an air conditioner on?
Me?
Yeah.
No, there's no noise in my room.
Okay, maybe. Thought it was you, but maybe not. Okay, any other questions on other expense?
Yes, Donald.
Go ahead, Donald.
Still kind of confused on, it sounded like the connection fees we're not charging enough for to cover the extra man hours to keep our water bill even, is what I'm kind of getting out of that conversation.
No, we did the math and the connection fees are enough. I would have to dig into the details to see. I know we had some things go on at the water plant this year that were unexpected. If you want to give me a second, I can pull it up. Jeff might remember. He's on the phone there.
Right. It just sounded like a lot of the extra pay out was due to the extra water connections that were being added.
Yeah, those line items that we usually expense those things to we had to do a supplemental budget to increase them this year. And there's a lot more water treatment expense just due to the extra water that we're producing. So Jeff's buying a lot more chemicals than we typically do. And we weren't ready for those things to happen.
Okay.
Jeffrey, do you have anything to add to that? Yeah, I'm gone, but I'm gonna go check and see if he can hear.
Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah. Yeah, I went down Angie called me down, we talked about this earlier, and I think they lost a pump for Corey Hill. They had to be rebuilt. I think they did pressure reducers, 4 or 5 of them. So there was additional costs. I think he did a baffle in the clear well,
Yeah.
the water plant. What we should have probably done was charge those off to the facility reserves, and then it wouldn't have impacted our cash carry forward as heavy. And then we wouldn't have seen this impact. And I think Angie's on that track for the future. Try not to absorb it within the current budget, but go to the facility. Those are one-off events. And that's what the facilities reserve is for. So that's the smoothing mechanism of the facility reserve. So these one-off events don't ruin your budget. And then we're going to do a raise this year. And then next year we'll probably be back down. Anyhow, that's my take on it. I don't know if Angie agrees or not, but
I wasn't here, so I don't know what you said.
I was just talking about how we should have been using the facility reserve for some of those items that we repaired. So,
And I did move a couple things, but there was still
quite a bit.
Yeah, there's like the pump rebuild, and there's some maintenance. There was a big bill from Hamer Electric recently for the water plant. I'm just trying to call in because his mic doesn't work, so maybe he can answer those questions a little better.
Noni?
Because of the increase in water and sewer usage, how is our water plant? Is it bad? Or this increase? Or are we going to have to make a major repair?
Hold on, I'm muting Jeff.
It's old.
Say that again, Noni.
What?
How is the water plant what?
Are we going to have to have major increase in costs for the water plant? It's old and we're getting a lot of increase in usage. Is it up to the task of all this increase in usage?
Are you waiting for Jeff to answer that?
I am. I believe it is, but I want him to answer.
Well, his mic doesn't work, so he tried to call in and that failed. I think I told Stephanie just have him come in here and sit on my lap. Noni had a question about the water plant, if it's getting tired.
It's not tired. It's just there's more man hours, more chemicals, more electricity with more houses than we've ever anticipated.
Go ahead, Noni.
My question, Jeff, is the water plant is old. We have lot of new houses and more new houses coming up. Is the water plant going to have the capacity to be able to handle all of this without major expense?
My forecast is that if the building keeps going at the rate it went this year, there's at least 10 years probably before an addition would be needed to be made to it, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
JR, you had your hand up.
Yeah, a couple things popped to mind during this conversation. One was, if we should have been taking it out of facilities reserve, why can't we transfer out now and not affect the rates? And the second one is that I think this is the exact kind of information I think council should hear from Jeff and staff, especially since so much money is coming out of the water and sewer for staff time, that these kind of stuff should be coming to council in a report. So we're not surprised with all of this at the end of the year. That's just my thought that kind of popped up.
What type of stuff? That those repairs had happened?
Yeah, the baffles, the pumps, all this extra cost is the first I've heard of it. And we've had, that's the kind of stuff that I think would be great for Jeff to report on, or staff, at least quarterly, like we talked about. And we kind of know what's going on.
I thought in his public works report, he did have the raw water or the pressure reducers and the baffles in it. I'm almost
Okay.
positive.
These,
Well,
the things we rebuilt last year were all in last year's budget. The pressure reducer valves in town, the raw water
Right.
pump rebuilds.
That's what I thought. That's why all of a sudden it kind of hit me like, is this extra stuff? We were acting like it's extra stuff that was unforeseen, and now it's affecting our rates.
No, this was those were not unforeseen items.
I'm talking about unforeseen things.
But the cost was more for the pressure reducers than you had planned, right?
The raw water pumps were a little bit more. The pressure reducers were right on target.
Okay. I
So it
remember
sounds like it's kind of two different stories. I just was trying to get it straight in my mind, so. And then didn't we have one employee that wasn't even on the payroll for a while last year that left us? So that should have saved some money too.
That salary was in sewer, and we did a supplemental that reduced that a little bit. So it didn't have anything to do with the water budget.
Okay.
Dale, go ahead.
Yeah, in regards to the capacity of the water plant, so we're basically running one shift, right, Jeff? So there's basically 3 shifts in a day if we need to run more water, correct?
The water plant is rated for 1 million gallons a day. Summertime, we could make potentially 400,000 gallons a day. So we are maybe a third capacity at peak times.
So we got a ways to go.
In my opinion, yes. I don't know what an engineer would say.
When we had our Homeland Security thing, we have more water storage and production availability than certain areas of Portland. But we're not maxed by any means as far as when we had that study done. Are there any other questions on other expense in the water fund? Yeah.
I'll make a motion to tentatively approve the water fund.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Grant seconds. Go ahead and call the roll, Stephanie.
Jody Anderson. Noni Anderson.
Aye.
Bruce McNair.
Aye.
Sam Potter.
Aye.
Brooke Hobart.
Aye.
J.R. Allen.
Abstain.
Dale Webb.
Aye.
Grant Williams.
Aye.
Donald Norman.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, so we'll move to page 37 and 38, the sewer fund. Page 38, income. Are there questions on this?
You need a new computer. I'm gonna get you $50,000. I know. We're joking.
No questions on the income section?
Looks like we're plus 50K on income. Sewer usage fees.
No, we're down from the adopted budget of last year.
Oh, I see. I don't know why I had that wrong line or something. Or I'm looking at 364, sorry, the actual.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're What happened there, Angie? Why is it dropping so much?
We don't need as much revenue to cover the budget this year, so that's why the rate can go down in sewer.
Okay.
That's how we created that rate calculator to plug in what we need to spend, and it spits out how much we need to collect. So,
Okay.
and that's with the chassis cab in there for the 46,000. So if we dump that into transfers out, I mean, the revenue stays the same, but still, even with that big proposed purchase, it's still, the rate was still slated to go down $4. That's what it ends up doing at the end of the budget.
Hey, you guys call it a chassis cab. I guess I understand what you're talking about. Now you're talking just a truck and a bare frame.
Yes.
Then who's going to mount the box, and what if it doesn't, who's going to pay for the hydraulic and all that stuff? I mean, isn't that another cost? Wonder if it's cheaper just to get a whole truck.
They don't come that way. You still send a chassis cab off to the dump truck place. Well, our plan was to recycle our existing hydraulics and dump bed onto the new truck.
Are you self-performing that, Jeff, or is the shop doing it and rebuild the system?
We're not doing it. The shop's doing it.
Like $8,000 or something.
Yeah, it would be the same place as the snowplow installation area, truck place.
Okay.
Any other questions on income? Move on to payroll expense. Any questions or clarification there?
I got one question on health insurance. It's 35,000 for 2.3 full-time employees.
It's 34,077.
Right,
Oh.
roughly, okay. But why is there some funds where there's one employee and it's 25K?
Depends on how much coverage they have.
Oh, so it's varying on size of family that much?
Yeah, employee only is cheap, and then there's 4 different variations that drive the premium up.
So for like 2 people, it's 25,000?
No, that'd be for a whole family.
That's like 4?
Doesn't matter. You can have 1 kid or 12 kids. It's the same.
Oh.
That's just family or not.
Hmm.
Any other questions? Any other questions on payroll expense? No? Okay, so we can move on to page 40, the other expense section of the sewer fund. Any questions or clarifications on this section? Dale, go ahead.
Okay, so line item 1700-00, the equipment purchase. I'd like to remove that and just make that go into transfer out to facility reserves. And then when we get to the facility reserves, split that cost between the water and sewer facility reserves. That's a one-off cost. It's last council meeting, we talked about the rolling stock being part of being, in the facility reserves. So.
Is that a motion?
I guess I will make that a motion.
Okay, is there a second to the motion to move 1700-00, the 46,000 to 985099 transfers out?
I'll make that motion. Make that second.
Okay, there's a motion second. Any discussion? Can you call the roll, Stephanie?
Donald Norman,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Jared Allen,
Aye.
Sam Potter,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay.
I have a
Any-
question.
Go ahead.
It's for Councilman Webb or Committee Member Webb. Will that be split between water and streets?
Water and sewer.
Water and sewer. I don't know how we take it out of streets.
How much would come out of parks? It's used in parks.
Well, that's a
When's the
good
last
question.
time?
Pardon me, JR?
About what, 1%?
Oh, I bet they use it more than that.
I guess that'd be a Jeff question.
My wheels are turning. That is a fair question. I'd say 10%, if not, I would not say 10% was not an unfair chunk out of parks.
Okay.
What about
I mean,
streets percentage?
My goal, yeah, streets.
Well, we kind of pawned the whole snowplow off on streets.
Okay.
Not pawned it off, but that's where it's going to get used.
So stick with parks, water and sewer, funding the truck frame.
Well, my goal is not to burden parks. I just a group discussion.
It's only $4,600 if you do 10%.
Will that fund absorb that? Ma'am?
I would have to wait till we get facility reserves to look at that, probably.
So we can further this discussion when we get to facilities reserves as a whole. That works.
Okay.
Any other questions? JR?
Yeah, this one's probably for, well, you or Dale or whatever, but moving this 46,000 to facility reserves. And we use the money to pay facility reserves, we put that back in the budget. So that's going to affect the rates no matter what, correct?
Well,
Yeah, the rate stays the same, 'cause the money's going somewhere.
Right. I mean, we're paying ourselves to put in the money out of both funds. This will just switch it all from sewer to spread the wealth, and then it might affect the rates on all the funds.
No, facilities don't affect the rates. The sewer fund is what it is because the 46 is either going to go out on this line item up here or this line item down here. The overall total stays the same. That's the only fund that drives the rate.
So that,
Unless you were to pay it back immediately, or you were into paying it back.
yeah, so the only thing in the rate, JR, that is facility reserve is that minimum input into it that is part of the rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand what committee member Webb suggested, and it's fair to spread the cost if it's going to be used for everything. And it's even a fair assessment that committee member Bruce McNair brought up for parks, if it's going to be used for parks. So.
Are there any other questions on other expense in the sewer fund for clarification? Hearing none, is anyone interested in tentatively approving the sewer fund?
Wait a minute. I have one question.
Okay.
Before we go. It's pretty quick. The administration fees are the same for this fund as were for water, spread out the same. What my initial question was of water.
Yeah.
They're used the same way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'll make that motion.
To tentatively approve the sewer fund.
Yep.
Is there a second? Webb,
I'll second.
okay. Stephanie?
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Sam Potter,
Aye.
Brett Williams,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
J.R. Allen,
Aye.
Donald Norman,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, so we'll move on to Streets and Pathways Fund, page 44. Are there any questions on the income section? Dale?
So line item 1482-45, the ODOT grant. So we got 100, but we spent 79,400.
Well, we're
that
not
correct?
done.
Oh, go ahead.
We're not
Oh,
done.
we're still not done because of the sidewalk curb
ramp.
outs, the ramp. Okay.
And we don't put it, we're not putting in this year's until we actually get it.
But we have to, we just spend it, we finished spending the first one, so. Yeah.
So we'll be doing a supplemental.
Yeah, at least for this. I just don't want to jump the gun and then give myself a bad mojo and not get it at all.
Any other questions on the income section? I don't see or hear any, so we'll move on to payroll expense. Any questions here for clarification? Any questions on the other expense section? JR?
Yeah, 25,000 on what? I'd like Jeff to answer that because I've seen the same cold patch pile there for months when there's about a wheelbarrow load.
Can you state a line item for me?
What's the line item for Stephanie's record for minutes? Are you talking about 1600-00, JR?
Yeah, where it says 25,000 proposed budget and 25,000 for, let's say we're going to spend this year. And I'm for streets.
Well, we have actually spent 17,000 to date.
Right. Can you detail what that is? Because I haven't seen it. Maybe I'm ignorant on what you're buying.
It's street signs, it's cold patch, what else is it?
Nickerson, all the shit we did at Nickerson.
There was storm drain for Nickerson Ridge, it's storm pipe, it's catch basins that go in. I mean, I can't see Angie's screen from here to give you actual detail.
We got some manholes, there's some more Nickerson, lots of Nickerson stuff, rock. We moved some of the Nickerson stuff out to coincide with
I thought the Nickerson stuff was part of that settlement, was going to pay for some, that, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it is, and we did move a chunk of it out for that, but yeah, a lot of it is just,
Manholes are 5,000 a piece.
yeah.
I mean, what is one load of cold patch? Can't see that.
We bring some.
Big side.
Big side, that's $2,500.
Yeah, so one truckload of cold patch is 2,500 bucks. Homes.
How much is a catch basin?
So Joe said, after the Nickerson settlement, the money that we were going to take from here and there, I never heard the streets come up once. So how much do you think streets took out to finish Nickerson?
Well, the miscellaneous income in the income section is the Nickerson money.
Okay.
And then it came out how we used it in buying the catch basins for that, and we still have to finish up the sidewalk out there, which would go in streets.
Okay, so the Nickerson settlement money went in there. That's the 59,000.
Yeah,
We've only spent about 16.8 of that so far, so there's gonna be more to come to finish up, I think, right? So you still have to do, we have to do
The
the sidewalk.
sidewalks are not done, and that's the biggest portion of it.
Okay, I see it now over there. My mistake. I didn't see the Nickerson settlement over there on your explanation page.
yeah. Are there other questions in streets and pathways?
Line item 1610-01, it looks like we're saving over half of our fuel expense now. Is that something that I could learn? And 1,000 is a pretty specific number as opposed to 2,500 or 2,083. How are we doing that?
Well, specifically if they snow plow or use the street sweeper. So apparently the sweeper hasn't had enough rainy days to get out there.
Okay.
Jeff?
Well, and some of it may have just got into the wrong budget area too.
Yeah, it's just boys put in a code when they fill up, and sometimes
They don't get it in the right spot. That's my bad for not catching that.
Thank you.
Dale?
So line item 1645-00 contract services. I see we have budgeted 55 grand. So I would take it then the sidewalks at Nickerson are going to be a lion's share of that.
Well, we're hoping to get those done before the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, okay. So then that would be excess money that we have could tag on to a paving project or whatever.
That's our skin in the game in paving.
Our skin in the game, yeah. Okay, good.
Our hope is to get the ADA thing figured out in the next couple weeks, and then whoever comes to do those, we'll have them do the sidewalks at the same time.
Bruce? You had your hand up?
That was JR.
No, but Bruce did right before he called on Dale, so I was trying to keep track. Go ahead, Bruce. You're muted, bud. Is your phone on mute?
How about now?
We can hear you.
Just as an inquiry, the admin fee is the same for all the other funds in the park and the public works. Okay. Thank you.
JR?
Line 1620-10, electricity. I noticed it's almost the exact same 3 years in a row, and this year we're actually going down 1,000 when all the other funds are going up 5, 7, 8, 10% electricity costs. I would think the street ones would be such a fixed amount that it would be follow suit.
Well, it's a per pole charge. I don't think so, right? It's not a.
Yeah, it's just half of streets gets charged per pole, and then the downtown streets, half of that gets charged to general fund, thanks to Mr. Webb over there.
Oh,
So they don't raise the rates?
No.
Really? We should all put poles in.
Yep.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Dale?
Yeah, and we probably saved a little money too because we went to LEDs downtown section. So, and I think that is on a meter, right, Angie?
Well, I guess the ones on Park Drive are, aren't they?
Everything downtown is metered.
Yeah. I pay $35.49 a month for that. All these.
They're all come off of 1 meter though.
It's always the same.
You finally got your way, Mitchell. LEDs. It only took 12 years.
I know. Any other questions on streets and pathways? If not, I'd entertain a motion to tentatively approve.
I move we tentatively approve the streets and pathways fund.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Garrett Allen,
Aye.
Sam Potter,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Donald Gorman,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, so we'll move on to facility reserves, page 57. I guess 57 is the cover sheet. We'll move on to 58. So we're going to start with the general fund facility reserve. Any questions on this one? Yeah, sorry.
No problem. I'll be the guy. Transfers in, we only have the 10 grand. And we've discussed before that we were going to put 24,000 in for general fund facility reserves.
Yes, I don't.
I don't know where we're going to get the other 14K, folks. But I want to point that out. When we get to the general fund, if somebody saves some money, this is where it should go.
Yep.
We save the facility reserve for the general fund?
Say that louder, Andrew, can't hear you.
Should we save this particular facility reserve for when we get to the general fund?
That was my thinking.
I think it might be wise.
So is there consensus to table the general fund facility reserve until the 18th? Raise your hand. There's consensus. Okay, so we'll move on to page 59, Parks Maintenance Reserve. Questions or clarification on the Parks Maintenance Reserve? Rick, go ahead.
I'd like to make a proposal out of this facilities parks reserve to allocate, well, $5,000 for repair of the Anderson Park restrooms and another $5,000 for repair of the restrooms at the Vernonia Lake. So that would be a total of $10,000.
And then with your 10% of the truck, your contingency is gonna be down to, or the balance of this fund will be down to $14,000.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Dale?
So am I hearing, I heard a motion for the 10 grand. I didn't hear the motion including the chassis.
No, the motion on the table is for 5,000 to the Anderson Park shower restoration project and 5,000 to restore the Vernonia Lake bathrooms. That's what's on the table right now.
Okay, so it did include it.
Didn't include the truck.
Okay,
Just include the 2 bathrooms.
You can make another motion after this one if you want to add to it.
Yes. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to transfer 10,000 to contract services, 5,000 for the Anderson Park shower restoration, and 5,000 for upgrade and fixing of the Vernonia Lake bathrooms. Stephanie, can you call the roll?
Donald Mormon,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Oh, I'll abstain on this one.
okay, Jer Allen,
Aye, but I don't think it's gonna take 5K for the lake one, but it could, so anyway, I'll
Bruce
stay.
McNair. Or sorry, you already did it. Ken Water,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
aye.
Donald Mormon,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Tony Anderson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, so is there any other motion that anyone's interested in making? Can I just say something? That we've been talking for a long time that the parks fee of $2 a month is really quite cheap and that it doesn't even equal coffee a month per household. So this might be, if we do these projects and you guys do allocate the money this way, it might be a reason to look at, have the Parks Committee and the council look at potentially increasing that fee, even just by $1 would bring in some more money, and thus more money could go into facility projects in the future. So keep that in mind, everybody. If you're worried about it going down in its the funding, what the ending balance would be, there are ways to continue to do these projects and have the citizens have a better product. Bruce, you want to say something?
Yeah, I don't disagree with the notion, Rick, of doing the work on the bathrooms. I didn't want that implied there. It's kind of a maintenance issue, as opposed to, we don't know if this falls under the facility reserves issue. So that addresses I don't point fingers at people, but the city administrator, I think that idea addresses that issue to where you stay within the fund with this being a maintenance issue. And then the $4,000 for the chassis on the new truck, that's falls a little bit more in line with that facility reserves, but that's my thinking.
Well, we did talk about that the facility reserves would be where projects to the actual structural facilities as well as rolling stock, like Dale said, with the machinery or equipment big purchases, that facility reserves in the reserves policy that council is looking at could really address both. And, you know, the maintenance version that we've done with those showers is paint, and that we need something longer term, or we'll be doing those every year if we do it with what we have. If we don't put some more longer lasting composite type material over those showers. JR?
Yeah, I didn't really see it, 2 of these big items as really a maintenance issue because the roof is rotten off and that's got to be tore off and fixed at the lake. And the Anderson Park's floor, it looked to me like it is an epoxy coating. You can see it about over an 1/8 inch thick around the door as you're going into the men's. So I don't think it's just paint. It might have been painted over at one time.
Well, it's like a garage floor treatment So it's not really the same as what we're looking at doing. It's more of a apply yourself type, not just paint, but apply yourself type instead of having someone come in and shoot it on and prep the surface and everything.
Right, and I kind of have a feeling that after looking at it, that 5,000 might not be enough, but maybe we don't need 5,000 to fix the roof and a couple things in the door at the lake restrooms and whatever else it needs. So it might come out as a wash. It might take a little more at Anderson Park. So I guess you'll come up with that final number.
Yeah, and the other flip side is that I've seen in other restrooms is they almost just do like a wainscoting height with that thicker, deeper stuff, and then they don't do it like floor to ceiling. Because the water, the massive amount of water is really from, a certain height down.
Yeah, it's called FRP, right?
Yeah, you could do something like that, but yeah, you don't have to do the full wall of it too.
Yeah, I didn't think we had anything on the walls over there, but paint.
No, we don't. That's why I'm saying you can do that epoxy coating from like a normal person chest high down and then leave the rest of the restroom painted as it is or resurface it, repaint it. So that could be somewhere where there might be a little bit of savings versus doing it floor to ceiling.
Right, I wouldn't think, yeah, the epoxy flooring, I would think would just be the flooring, but yeah, you could look at some FRP on the walls in certain areas or something.
So there, Dale?
So 1645-00 in the parks, is that for the skate park?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That was supposed to come out of the general fund, I thought. Sorry if I interrupted.
It did last year. We transferred it to the Parks and Reserve Fund last year, the budget from general fund. That's what part of that $30,000 up top is. You see the 30,000 transfer in to the Parks and Reserve. 20 of that came from general fund.
I guess I'm not following. Did the Parks Department pay for the roof? Because I know the general fund originally paid for it. Did that get paid back?
No, the general fund facility that in the general fund reserve is that money that was spent this year is the play shed roof.
Yeah, you're breaking up so
You're
bad.
talking about the skate park is that got transferred out of general fund in this current year's budget. Part of that $30,000 sitting in there on your actual, and 20,000 of that came from general fund.
I'm sorry, with my hearing, I can't understand you, Angie. Can somebody else repeat that? I can hear.
So the transfer in 9467-99.
Okay.
20 of that 30 came from the general fund and is that skate park money we haven't spent yet that you see in contract services. We adopted it to be spent this year. We didn't get the grant, so we're moving it forward to 21-22 to spend it in this next fiscal year when the skate park gets constructed.
Okay.
Yeah. Sam, did you have something?
Back to Dale's issue, I was going to recommend that we make a proposal to have 10% of the chassis fee added to the parks maintenance reserve.
Taken out of it, you mean?
Yeah, taken out of it.
Do you want to add 4,600 to the 164500 contract services?
That's the one. Unless Dale's changed his mind.
Is there a second to that motion? Bruce will second. Any discussion? Okay, Stephanie?
Bruce, you seconded that motion?
Was there no,
So I can repeat that?
Bruce, you seconded, right?
Yes. I'll second that.
And how do you vote?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
How do you vote, Bruce?
Aye.
Chair Allen,
Nay.
Tim Potter,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Donald Norman,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Tony Anderson,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, are there any other questions or proposals for this Parks Reserve Fund?
So what would that bring the balance down to?
$41.56.
Is 13,586.
No. Say that again, Ange. You're taking 14,600 out of it?
Yeah, so 13,856 is what we're gonna have left.
Okay. How come I have 14,156?
Don't know.
Well, you're taking it out of the 28. 756.
Yeah, I'm just using the Excel formulas to do it, so we had 20 and we're adding 14.6 unless something was screwed up originally. Let me see. Maybe it must not be grabbing something. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, I see. I got it. Yep. 14156.
Okay. So if there's no other proposals in the Parks Maintenance Reserve, is there anyone that would like to make a motion to tentatively approve it? Dale.
I'll make a motion to tentatively approve the Parks Maintenance Reserve Fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Noni, second. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Tony Anderson, Noni,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Grant Williams, Donald Norman,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Tim Potter,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
J.R. Allen,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, so we'll move to Sewer Facility Reserve. And the 45% of the truck would be $20,700.
$2,700.
20,700.
And our transfer in changes too, I believe.
Yeah, it goes up to 135,500.
Excuse me.
Okay, so 9467-99, 135,500. With the change that was made in the sewer fund. Are there any questions or clarifications in this one?
Yeah, explain that to me a little bit. I'm a little bit lost how it went up that much.
So that's Dale taking the 46,000 for the truck out of equipment purchases and putting it in transfers out.
Right, but 46 and 62.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that ain't right.
Not 135. I'm slow, but I was like a little confused there.
So should it be 108, Ange?
Yeah, I think I took out the parks money.
So sorry, 9467-99 should be 108,000.
Yeah, 108, 108,000.
Yep, okay.
Okay, I'm with you now.
So this is the first one where we don't have a line item for expense. So it would be, what line item would that become if they do the equipment purchase for the truck?
It'll be 1700-00 equipment purchase.
Anyone interested in making any proposals?
Yeah, looking around down there, we haven't done anything to the buildings or the paint and the garbage and the junk. It seems like we need to spend some money sprucing things up around there. That's just my take on it. Maybe that's why there's not a line item for it. We haven't done anything there in, I don't know how long. Maybe Jeff could answer that.
At the sewer plant?
No, I'm talking about just the whole facilities there. The shop.
You mean Public Works shop, Public Works water plant? Is that what you're talking about?
Isn't that part? Yeah. Just everything down there where you are, Jeff. There's just broken windows and junk and the building looks like it needs a paint job. And I mean, isn't sewer part of that? We work out of the building.
I mean, if you guys want to propose, taking some money and contracting out to do something, I'm not.
Are you talking about the shop, JR, where they park the rigs and stuff?
Yeah, and the old plant.
The old plant's.
Yeah.
It's just
storage. We're trying to fix the old plant.
Well, there's about a truckload of garbage in front of it.
It's a mess.
So what I'm thinking is we spend a little bit of money and spruce it up a little bit to where it's, I don't know, it just looks like it's pretty run down.
Well, the old plant, I don't know that painting it or doing anything like that is money well spent. Because it's just going to peel off of it.
Maybe we could haul off the old tires and the garbage and the, you know, the stuff around there. That costs money.
I'm not opposed to spending money and getting rid of that stuff.
That's just from a, I don't know. When you drive down there, it's like, what is all this stuff? Been here for 20 years.
Noni?
If we're not going to do anything with the old building except let it rot, why is it still there?
It houses all of the signs for the city, all of the barricades, all of the cones, all of that kind of stuff.
We are using it. It should be painted and made to look decent. It is messy down there. There is garbage.
When you guys say garbage, there's not like household garbage. You're talking about risers and equipment and stuff that's not stacked nicely or something? Because I was down there today and there's no garbage.
I don't mean household garbage. No.
So you're meaning like organization and then get rid of the tires? Because the rest of that stuff, the risers and stuff, it's going to be a working shop, so it's not going to be kind of like it's not going to always look so all lined up. I mean, there's work to do there, but I don't know that it's ever going to look like.
If I don't get my cord, this computer isn't going to keep operating.
Okay.
Not really a public building though, so, I mean, I get not making, it doesn't need to fall down, but it doesn't need to be beautiful. I just feel like that's not maybe the best use of our money if we're gonna be charging the ratepayers for it. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, if you guys want to put some money in there and we can, I mean, the tire is really the thing that's we're gonna have to pay to get rid of one of those.
Yeah, I'm just worried if there's a flood, all that stuff end up back in the riverbed. I've given Jeff the option. I'm willing to propose that we put a little money in this picking up the junk around there. Nobody would want that much stuff around their house. So.
But I'm not opposed to putting money in there to haul those tires off.
How much do you need? How much you need, Jeff, to clean up the junk that you see when you pull in? It's been there forever.
I couldn't tell you. I don't have a price on what it costs to get rid of. I can't give you an honest price.
So we could look into that if that's something.
Yeah,
we could table this and bring you guys back some information. We'd have to get a count and see what it would cost for a truck. Usually what you do is they bring a truck out and they charge you per tire. I remember a couple of years back talking to Waste Management about it. So if you guys want us to get the info, we can do that.
It's just an idea. It depends on what everybody else wants.
Sam, go ahead. You're muted, Sammy.
You're muted. Yeah.
Wondering why this isn't operation and maintenance expense on a regular basis. Why you know, it seems like we've taken a little thing gradually and made it a big thing. Every time you buy a tire, you should throw the tire away. That's kind of how it works.
You want the real story on these tires have come from cleanup days over the years, and they've never been disposed of. They aren't our tire. I mean, they are our tires now, I should say, we own. They weren't tires that came off of our public works vehicles, I should say.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. I
In
just.
a perfect world, they should have been disposed of when they were picked up on those cleanup days.
Right there again. I'm sure there was a plan. Somebody thinks that those tires have already been taken care of.
Somebody thinks they're what, Sam?
I imagine that on the cleanup day, the city would like to believe that those tires are being dealt with, not just moved to another part of the city. Anyway, it seems it would be a small thing if you dealt with it one at a time rather than let it.
Well, yeah, and future cleanup days don't take tires.
Well, is Jeff saying find them around town then?
Yeah. Or people find them in the parks or in alleys or wherever.
I think True Value could take them all, recycle them.
Say that again, JR?
I think True Value could load them up and recycle them for whatever that fee they charge, you know, $4, $5, $6, $10 a tire, depending on how big they are, probably.
Yeah, that's the same deal Waste Management will do. They'll recycle them, but you pay a fee per deal.
Yeah, and if these were a cleanup day event, then this isn't a sewer fund issue. This would be a general fund issue.
or Vernonia Pride issue where they can pay for it.
They're retired.
I don't really care where it comes from. It just kind of looks unprofessional. I mean, anybody goes down there, it just looks like we're collecting junk.
Well, Jeff figures we got about 50 tires, so if they're $10 a tire, it's $500. It's not going to break anybody's bank. So
No, I think we just need to tell Jeff we give him
we
permission
don't have to budget
to
for it.
spend money and get rid of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's something we can just decide to do tomorrow and not have to worry about putting it in the budget. It's not that much money. The general fund can pay for it if that's what you guys want.
Works for me.
Sam, I think you're muted. Were you trying to talk to us?
So does that address the entire concern? I was.
So that's something we're just gonna work on as a note to get rid of the tires. Is there other things we want to put in for facility reserve?
What do you think, Jeff? Now's your chance.
I don't think there's an item down there that needs an extra line item to get rid of, just like the tires. The green shed is slated to be knocked over as long as we have the stuff out of there. That green shed's going away, so that's not even going to be an item.
Is that the one where the tires are at?
Yep.
They're next to it.
Okay.
So does anyone want to make a proposal about a chassis cab?
Oh, were we doing half of it in sewer and half of it, or 40% in sewer, 40% in water?
45 is what, because we talked about not doing it in streets.
Well, the street should have to pay if Parks pays.
Well, okay.
Because they're gonna use that truck in streets all the time. You're gonna plow the streets with it.
Okay, I thought maybe, so the numbers are different then. We did 10%.
Oh, that's right. We said streets paid for the plow, right?
Right.
Okay, sorry, I forgot about that. So 45%, 45 and 10?
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we put 45% of the 46,000 chassis cab in the sewer facility reserve fund. Take it out of that.
Out of expense, line item 1,700, equipment purchase 20,700. Is that a yes, JR?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Go ahead, Stephanie.
Sorry, hold on, I'm trying to get caught up.
Oh. You need any numbers?
I got motion to put 45% of the chassis cab into 1,700 equipment purchase.
And it's 20,700.
20,700. And who seconded?
I have Alan Potter. Alan's the motion, Potter with a quick second.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Melanie Anderson,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Dan Potter,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Donald Gorman,
Aye.
J.R. Allen,
All right.
motion carried.
Okay. We'll move on to page 61, water. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Dale.
I think we made a mistake on line item 946799 because we had 46,000. It should have been 45,000. If the
Why?
chassis cab was 45,000, that was all in sewer, then we added that onto the 62. That should have been 107,000. We came up with 108.
It was 46,000.
46,000, yeah.
We've been working with 46 from the beginning.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, somebody just said it was 45,000 for the,
45%.
oh, 45%. Okay.
Okay. So we'll move to water facility reserve. Questions or clarification?
Do you want to tentatively approve the sewer facility reserve?
Oh, sorry, I thought that's what you just did. Oh, no, you did, sorry. I was on the motion. Is there a motion to tentatively approve this fund?
For the sewer facility reserve?
Yeah, I jumped the gun. Anyone interested in tentative? Dale,
Okay, I'll make a motion to tentatively approve the sewer facility reserve.
second?
Second.
Rick seconded. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Donald Gorman,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
J.R. Allen,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
All right.
Brett Williams,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Dan Potter,
Aye.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, now we can move to page 61. Water facility reserve. Questions or clarification?
So are we going to mimic that 45% on this side too?
Yes.
Should we start with that?
Sure.
I make a motion that 45% of the cost of the chassis be taken from the water facility reserve.
I'll second.
Okay, so I heard Rick second, that 20,700 will be put in line item 1700-00 equipment purchase in the water facility reserve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, go ahead, Stephanie.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Brett Williams,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Dan Potter,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
All right.
Donald Normand,
Aye.
J.R. Allen,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, are there any other questions or clarifications in water facility reserve? Any proposals?
I'll make a motion to accept the water facility reserve.
Motion's been made to tentatively approve the water facility reserve. Is there a second?
Second.
Grant Williams seconds. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Brett Williams,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
All right.
Donald Normand,
Aye.
J.R. Allen,
Aye.
Dan Potter,
Aye.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay. We're moving to operating reserves. Page 65 is the cover sheet. Page 66, we'll start with water operating reserve. Are there any questions or clarification? If there's no questions or clarification, does anyone want to tentatively approve the water operating reserve?
I'll tentatively approve the water operating.
We have a motion from Williams. Is there a second?
Second.
Noni seconds. Any discussion? Go ahead and call the roll, Stephanie.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Garrett Allen,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Tim Potter,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Donald Normand.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, we'll move on to sewer operating reserve. Any questions?
How come this fund is is lower than the water operating funds when sewer is supposed to be flush with cash?
I thought we were on the water operating fund.
They tentatively approved it. We've moved on to sewer.
Oh, I thought we already did sewer. Sewer
I'm just
operating fund,
curious.
we just started it a couple years ago when the new plant came online. I think we started the water operating fund before that.
Yeah, it was.
Gotcha. So we put in how much this year? 27.5?
Yeah, that's what you guys came up with for the reserve policy.
Remember, we're trying to hit the 6-month kind of, that's the golden number for maybe readdressing whether we keep collecting it at such a rate. The goal is to have 6 months of operating expense in each of these funds. And that
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just curious which one costs more to repair and operate. I mean, I guess it can vary, but
yeah, it's probably going to be water because sewer's relatively new and upgraded. Water will be before sewer.
right. Okay.
Any other
Remember,
questions?
these are operating reserves, not facility reserves.
Right.
So this is mainly a salary component of operations.
Any other questions? Anyone interested in tentatively approving the sewer operating?
I'll make a motion that we tentatively approve the sewer operating reserve budget as written.
Okay, motion's been made by JR. Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
Grant Williams snuck in there to second.
Good enough.
Discussion. Go ahead.
You ready for me?
Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
Donald Normand. Donald Normand,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Garrett Allen,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Tim Potter,
Aye.
Noni Anderson.
Aye.
Did I call you Bruce? Okay, motion carried.
Yes, it is.
So there's one little tweak to our agenda. We didn't do the two reserves that are, it says operating reserves. And we need to go back to page 62,
Yeah, I seen that.
which is the reserves for Memorial Cemetery. It's not classified as either facility or operating. It's just the Memorial and Pioneer Cemetery reserves. So. Page 62, Memorial Cemetery. Is there any questions?
No, not for me.
Would anybody be interested in tentatively approving the Memorial Cemetery Reserve?
I move we tentatively approve the Memorial Cemetery Fund.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Sam Potter, seconded. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please, Stephanie.
Donald Norman,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Sam Potter,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Jarrett Allen,
Aye.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, we'll move to page 63, the Pioneer Cemetery Reserve. This is a big one, so
Yeah.
there's going to be lots of questions.
I make a motion that we tentatively approve the Pioneer Cemetery Fund as it is written.
Okay, Sam Potter's made a motion to tentatively approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Noni's seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, there's no interest earned in 4 years, and then I'm also wondering if the people that take care of it know this fund money is available, because I know they've been putting money in their own pockets up there doing stuff.
They do know the fund is available. Most of their work is part of their group's mission, which is donation. The city has discussed doing some work with them on graves that are kind of tipping, but that isn't something we have an actual number for. It's going to probably just be a small amount of earthwork to fix the graves that are tipping.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. You're gonna do what with the maybe proposed money?
Well, so we don't have any money proposed to spend out of this. The freewheelers do know it exists if there were to be a project. But most of that is part of their mission to donate their times and services. So they haven't come to ask for any upgraded project, except the city, I did tour it with them and talk to them about fixing some of the graves that are kind of, there's a tipping point as you go down the hill there. But that isn't something that we could put an exact number on, and it would probably be done, with a half day of a little bit of earthwork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? We have a tentative motion or a motion to tentatively approve the Pioneer Cemetery Fund. Seeing or hearing no other questions, go ahead and call the roll, Stephanie.
Noni Anderson,
Aye.
Rick Hobart,
Aye.
Grant Williams,
Aye.
Bruce McNair,
Aye.
Sam Potter,
Aye.
Dale Webb,
Aye.
Donald Norman,
Aye.
Jarrett Allen,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay. Those are all the funds that we had slated to deliberate tonight. So if there's no other comments or questions, we will recess to the next budget meeting on May 18th, where we will be discussing police, library, administration, general fund, and the general fund facility reserve.
And police.
She
I
said,
said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Everybody have a good night. Happy reading.
thank you.
Bye-bye.